Good afternoon. My name is Emma Bumbar, and I will be covering Chris Cash's mission statement, his reputation, as well as his competitors. I will also share a campaign pitch for Chris Cash to give him the most possible success. So, my client's name is Chris Cash, and he is a fashion and art designer located in Soho, Manhattan. He is an up-and-coming designer. He's not very well known within the industry yet, and he is creating these clothing and these art pieces because he wants people to be themselves, and he wants to be that inspiration so that people can really reach for the stars and do whatever they want to do. So Chris Cash, his work is the center photograph. Like I said earlier, he was an underdog designer in Soho. His mission statement is to create clothing and art to entertain and redefine fashion. As of right now, he only has an Instagram with very few followers, and his clothing and art is priced, I would say, generally pretty fair. And the vintage twin on the far right is a vintage shop located in Soho as well. They take items from jewelry to clothing to rework and make it more vintage, as the title suggests. They're well known, and they have very many celebrity endorsements as well as social media platforms, and their price range is from high to decently pretty well priced. Bape, which is on the far left, it's also called the Bathing Ape. It's mostly known to be hip-hop and streetwear for men and sometimes women. They sell anything from hoodies, pants, shoes, t-shirts. They're also located in Soho, Manhattan, and they have many followers on social media, and as well have many celebrity endorsements, and their price is from medium to high. So the messages and themes for these three designers: Chris Cash, his main message and theme is to redefine fashion through recreating clothing and art. So he takes something that people don't normally see on the street and creates it for people that are confident enough to be different when they're seen on the street. And he mainly uses Instagram as a platform. He does not have Facebook, a website, or Twitter. The vintage twin, the message is to lessen the demand for harmful mass production of goods. Also, 10% of the proceeds go to a charity. They typically send info out through a website, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so they have most of the social media platforms, as well as celebrity endorsement. Bape, their message is to introduce Japanese fashion through culture to the world through street fashion, to send out information through a website, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as also using celebrity endorsements. So through the three of these, Bape is the most well known, then the vintage twin, and then Chris Cash. Obviously they are a bit spread out, which could be a good thing. Publics and stakeholders. So Chris Cash's target audience would have to include men, but mostly women's fashion, and ages range from 18 to 25. I would say most of these people tend to live in Manhattan, and within Manhattan it would be Lower Manhattan. A lot of my friends in Lower Manhattan wear Chris Cash's clothing, and it's just the way that the city works. The more uptown you go, the more high scale the fashion gets, and less streetwear and more unique. Chris Cash's buyer persona would have to be an earlier adult age, unique, artistic people who are not afraid to be themselves and wear art, those who want a challenge, and they want to challenge the norm and make something out of fashion and art. They aren't afraid to step out of the norm. And the stakeholders would mainly be Barney's department store. They will soon sell Chris Cash's clothing, and depending on the success rate of that, he can get more or less stakeholders. I would say for his first stakeholder being Barney's department is a huge step and can really make or break his goals. So specifically, Chris Cash's communication lacks heavily on social media platforms. As you can see, he only has 55 followers on Instagram with no celebrity endorsements, but with that being said, there's a lot of room to grow. On the left side, this is an app called Depop where you can buy and sell fashion, and it's normally handmade sort of items. And very few people know the app, but Mr. Chris Cash has over 50,000 followers on that. So it's a bit of a toss-up, but he definitely has a lot of room to grow, and I would say for his best success rate with the communication and social media, it would have to be Instagram, because most fashion designers use Instagram as their main platform to portray their designs. The Vintage Twins communication is a little bit better. They have a website. They also have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with thousands of followers on each, and tend to include high fashion model endorsements, which in turn heightens the communication in the fashion industry. So on the very far right, that's Cara Delevingne. She's a very successful high fashion, high couture model. You can see on their Instagram there's over 77,000 followers. And then on the far left is an example of what kind of work they do. They take an old jean jacket and they add something that's modern, like an emoji to it, which creates an appeal to most people in this generation. Bape, on the other hand, they do have a website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with hundreds of thousands of followers. So Bape is really doing well in the communication aspect. They have a lot of hip-hop followers and endorsements such as Kanye West or G-Eazy. You can tell on their Instagram they have 64,000 followers, sorry. And on the far left is an example of the kind of clothing they would make. It's very simple, clean, easy to follow. And so Bape has a very effective communication tactic using Kanye West, who's a huge icon all over the world, and a lot of people will be able to follow it. And with it being a Japanese industry and at a Japanese company, it'll be very good for them to use celebrity endorsements. So Chris Cash's goals and objectives. As you can see here in his artwork, he puts art on jean jackets and leather jackets, and it's already very unique and appealing, even to those who wouldn't necessarily consider themselves to wear it. So his goal is dealing with marketing is to increase the awareness of Same Never Sleeps by the summer of 2017. So he would start in January of 2017 and end in July of 2017. That's his timeline goal, to increase his followers and really get his name out there. The objective would to be establish a social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with over 5,000 followers on each platform. If he does that, his sales will increase by at least 15%. I think it is important for him to get presence on each social media platform, but I think his main focus should be on Instagram, as it's the main platform for fashion designers. His themes and channels. So the strategies he would use to campaign his themes and channels would to be basically to sell a lifestyle. That's the goal. He wants to show off his brand, that he can show that it's different. He wants to look at what other social media platforms that customers use the most. So for him, Instagram would be the platform that people use the most. Most people don't go on Facebook to find the cool new sweatshirt or the cool new shoes. They normally go to Instagram to find that. He also wants to be able to tell a story using photos, and clearly he has very unique photos that people can really dig into. And also he wants to be able to have the customers repost photos, which will get his label out by word of mouth and photographs. So the tactics that we would be looking through would be that he goes into Barney's in the January of 27. If he is successful, he can release more clothing through a campaign. And in April 2017, if he keeps up to date, he can possibly get more customers, including celebrity endorsements such as Rihanna or Mac Miller, who's in the music industry. So for his tactic, it would be best to go month by month based on his success through the Barney's department store. And if all goes well, he will raise his awareness by at least 15%. So as I was saying, the tactics and timeline. So you can see he debuts in January of 2017 with 55 Instagram followers. By April 2017, he'll hit his 4th month at Barney's in the involvement. By then, he should have at least 350 Instagram followers. By July 2017, that's the seventh month of the campaign, he should have at least 500 Instagram followers. If he can do that, he will be able to open a whole new line to his company if need be, and he'll really make a huge profit on it. So the budget and evaluation. The budget would have to be very simple. You think about it, in social media is free, so that's already taken care of. He already has a camera that is suitable for the types of photos he needs to take, very nice, clean, and crisp photographs. And since his clothing is made custom, one of one, depending on how many pieces he makes, let's say he makes 100 in the first month, he will need a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000 to be successful and keep up with Barney's staff and how much he needs to create. So I would say the minimum would be $5,000 if he starts making 100 pieces of clothing. It all depends on how the success with Barney's goes. In his evaluation, using KPIs such as the increase of Instagram followers and how many pieces of clothing are purchased a month, with celebrity endorsements and Barney's success, followers will exceed 500 and clothing purchased per month would be around 50 pieces. So he has a huge potential to really gain a lot of followers through social media and through his success in Barney's, and as well increase his revenue. So in conclusion, same never sleeps. We all know that. Chris Cash has the potential to change the course of contemporary fashion and art if he establishes the correct social media platforms and is successful at Barney's to show that same really never does sleep. Thank you.